Joining me now is Arkansas Congressman French Hill. He is the vice chairman of the House Financial Services Committee, the chairman of the Subcommittee on Digital Assets, and a member of the House Foreign Affairs and Financial Technology and Inclusion Committees, as well as the Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. Congressman, thanks very much for being here. Your reaction to the Biden-Harris administration's handling of the war on Israel?
Well, it's been a failure. It's been insufficient. It's true that they are backing our ally Israel, but they're sending mixed messages here in the United States and in Europe purely because of domestic politics. They're caught so much in a desire to win Michigan that they're caught between the campus protests, voters in Michigan, and their duty to back our ally. Prime Minister Netanyahu and the war cabinet are simply defending their country from 1 year ago, a 9/11 style attack on that country by Iran-backed terrorists. Iran has seen to it that Hezbollah in Lebanon and Syria is the best armed military terror group in the world. And they have an unlimited amount of long-range rockets due to Iran.
I mean, you say they are backing Israel. Are they backing Israel? I mean, you know, I've got a letter here from Tom Cotton to Joe Biden demanding that he stop the embargo on sending weapons to Israel, right? So, I mean, did they hold back?
Well, that's my point of the mixed message that they're sending because of domestic politics.
So how's that backing Israel? How is that ironclad? Right? Biden and Harris, we're ironclad with Israel. You held back weapons in the middle of their fight for survival.
It's precisely what they've done in Ukraine as well. And this is the administration. They're timid. They won't back straight up one of our allies to defend itself from one of the best financed, well-armed militaries in the world, which is Iran-backed terror groups.
You know, Congressman, I thought that the wide open border was the biggest failure of this administration. But I've got to tell you, this storyline around FEMA running out of money, wow. I mean, this is even bigger than the wide open border, 10 million illegals coming in on their watch. Florida is bracing for another hurricane right now as we speak. Hurricane Milton could become one of the most destructive hurricanes on record. And DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas is warning that FEMA is out of money. A FEMA administrator doubled down on that yesterday. Watch this.
We don't have enough money to continue throughout the rest of the year. And we went into immediate needs funding earlier in the year to make sure we could do just what we've been doing through Helene, as well as now the preparations for Milton.
So, Congressman, I ask you, you are an elected official. You know where and how the money is spent. How is it possible that FEMA is out of money? Biden is urging Congress to come back, approve more funding for FEMA by the end of the year. Vice President Harris still under fire for promising to send $157 million to Lebanon. Yeah, Lebanon. While residents of at least 6 states in America are struggling to recover from Hurricane Helene. Okay, you're watching pictures of them hanging from trees. They've lost everything because of these storm surges. How is FEMA out of money?
FEMA is not out of money, and this was made clear by the Inspector General report, saying that Mayorkas has access to nearly $8 billion of funding from the FEMA disaster relief funds accumulated since 2012. Plus, as I've said, and as Mike Johnson has said, Congress is ready to replenish that funding as soon as we get back to Washington. They have the money to take care of Florida, take care of North Carolina, take care of Georgia, and they need to get about delivering it and listening to what their governors are asking and meeting those governors' requests.
But it's that money frozen for some reason?
This is where the Inspector General says no. Congress's staff says no, they have access to the funding. But Mayorkas has used this, I guess, for political purposes. But who are we to want to believe anybody in the Mayorkas administration? He's been impeached by Congress because he's incompetent. He's a terrible, misleading member of the president's cabinet and a disservice to the government. So I don't think anyone in Congress has any confidence in Mayorkas or what Mayorkas says.
But what about the money from FEMA used for illegal migrants?
The money for migrants, which I don't support FEMA being used to back migrant flows whatsoever. We have the Border Patrol and we have the Health and Human Services Agency to do that. And that's where those migrant issues in the Rio Grande Valley, for example, are funded. This is not the right thing to do for FEMA. It's out of a completely different account, though. It's not connected to hurricane relief. But the point still stands. FEMA is not a migrant recovery agency. We want them 100% focused on protecting Americans in natural disasters and other emergency conditions. And the fact that the Biden administration has left the border open is a disaster. It's a national security threat. It's a threat to our public health and public safety, but it's not the role of FEMA.
Well, I mean, if in fact he keeps saying that FEMA is out of money, what are you going to do about it? You're going to come back in a couple of weeks and you're going to approve more money for FEMA. Where is this money coming from?
Well, this money is appropriated from the taxpayers of the United States. And the question should be, we should be clawing back any money that FEMA's tried to be used or put into accounts for migrant assistance and make sure it goes to Americans for natural disasters. And I would remind you, Maria, that in September, Speaker Mike Johnson, in the continuing resolution, proposed to replenish the FEMA funds, knowing that these storms were coming. He got out ahead of the problem, proposed it as a part of the CR, but unfortunately 14 Republicans voted against it.
Unbelievable. Congressman, all right, we're going to be watching your work, especially if we get a new Securities and Exchange Commission chairman in another administration. That's going to have a big impact on digital assets, won't it?
It will be. It's important that we change from Gary Gensler to a Securities and Exchange Commission that understands the importance of blockchain and digital assets in America's financial future.
Exactly. Congressman, good to see you. French Hill joining us this morning.